Hare Krishna. Good evening. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Welcome. I welcome all of you for the weekly Gita Wisdom Association and discussion. I hope all of you are doing wonderful, fit, fine, and keeping the coronavirus at bay. Okay. May Krishna's blessings be on all of you. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We shall today read from the chapter 3. Where Krishna is describing Karma Yoga. I thought it would also be beneficial to some of the students who are taking part in the 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita study and review. In order to help some summarization. We will read from chapter 3. Where I lost that mark. Just a second. Okay, we shall read from, we lost that mark. We shall read from, I think, we shall read from the 4th chapter, 16th shloka. Kim karma Kim ka karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshayami yajñatva mokshayate asubhat. We are reading from chapter 4, text 16. I will repeat it once more and then I'll repeat it line by line and you can follow me. Kim karameti kavayo apyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshayami yajñatva mokshayase ashubhat. Please repeat. Kim karma kim agarameti kavayo apyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshayami ज्ञात्वा मोक्षयते अशुभात् किं कर्म किमकर्मेति यो अप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञात्वा मोक्षयसे अशुभात्. Let's all chant together. 1, 2, 3. Kim karma kimakarmeti tatte karma pravashyami Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Purport: action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accordance with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in a line of disciplic succession as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshvaku, and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlad, Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Bali Maharaja. Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Bali Maharaja. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatana Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dveshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Yadvaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Kim karmeti, kim akarmeti, kaviyopyatra mohita. What is to be done and what is not to be done? Even the most intelligent people are bewildered. It's a very interesting statement by Krishna here. Even the most intelligent people are bewildered. And obviously Arjuna has got very bewildered. And he's one of the most intelligent persons in the whole universe at that particular time. And he just cracked down fully under the weight of indecision and had to submit to Krishna and ask him, can you tell me what's the right thing to do now? Especially when you get overcome by deep internal difficulties in which complex emotions are involved. And there is a lot at stake materially outside and internally at stake relationships, many things together. Becomes extremely complex to decide. And the way material nature is situated, the way material nature is designed, and we are situated inside, is to constantly put us into this type of bewilderment. There is often situations where we get bewildered. We may manage to solve some of these problems temporarily by some external adjustments. But these problems actually remain in human society. And they keep surfacing again and again. Because the main problem is not solved. The main problem is not solved. Prabhupada gave an example. He said, if the original aspect is not proper, if the foundation is not good, if the understanding basically of the reality and truth is not good, everything else you do after that is useless. He said, just like if you have one in front, then you have so many zeros, they have great value. But if you take off that one, any amount of zeros you keep adding, it's of no value, it's useless. So if you don't have the foundation, one, God, Krishna, if you will find everything else is meaningless. So in human society, they are not able to make any decisions in many important occasions, many important situations, because they don't have the foundational problem solver, God. In a godless situation, the solution becomes another complex problem. That's how it compounds the problem. If you look into history, you will see that. Still there are wars, still there's hatred, still there is fighting. Human beings are being killed, children are being killed, all sorts of things happening. And somehow people have got so tired about it, nobody wants to take accountability, responsibility. There's no leadership. Why? Because the foundation is not present. Wherever you have made a mistake in terms of factoring God, Krishna, into your life, you will see proportion to that, there'll be problem coming up. Dharma itself is very difficult to understand. Krishna is explaining here the intricacies of action and the reaction are very difficult to understand and compute. So human society, you will say that, the instance of where in Mahabharata is a beautiful description of that. And that you have the description of Draupadi, the gambling match, and Duryodhana and Shakuni cheating the Pandavas, and Yudhishthira Maharaj, little oriented towards gambling. He lost everything. He lost even his wife. So they had a wild, dirty, immoral idea. They did not know that the Kauravas were like that. that they'll go to any extent to insult the Pandavas out of envy. When envy manifests, the people want to see you suffering the worst. That happiness one derives by another person's suffering. That's very common. In the Western world, they call it Schadenfreude in German language. Schadenfreude means somebody is suffering, I get enjoyment out of that. So the Pandavas were supposed to be under the control of the Kauravas because they lost the gambling match. They lost their wife also, their wealth, their position, everything. So they call upon Draupadi and they say, let's disrobe her and let her be naked. And Draupadi is dragged. It's a very dramatic situation in the Mahabharata. It's one of the main anchoring event, because on the basis of this only, everything was lost for the Kauravas, for completely offending a devotee of Krishna in this most despicable manner in public, that to a woman. We can't think of doing that even today, but those days they did it. You can imagine the amount of wrath, envy, and anger they had. So they bought and tried to disrobe, and at that time, Draupadi, in desperation, was asking the Pandavas whether you can do something for me, whether you can help me. And they all were just hanging their heads down. Bhima was furious like nothing. He had the strength and capacity to finish everybody at that moment. But somehow, by the subtle aspect of dharma and by Yudhishthira telling him, don't, we are not in the correct position to do that. And he had to listen to authority of his brother. So he didn't. Similarly, Arjuna. And then Draupadi turned to all the elders. She asked Bhishma, can't you stop this? This is horrible thing happening to me. I'm your daughter. And she turned around to Dronacharya, to Kripacharya, to everybody. And Bhishma said, my dear daughter, and he was almost crying, the ways of dharma are so complex. I really do not know how to act. The great wise Bhishma, he was not able to decide what to do. Kim karma karameti kavayo apyatra mohita. The way the world is made, sometimes you get stuck up in the most awkward situations, right? And you have to do something and you'll end up doing the wrong thing. You desperately want good advice. Who will tell you in this world what is the right thing to do? Most people don't know what is right. Here, even Bhishma did not know what's the right thing to do. And she had to rely only on Krishna, of course. And Krishna protected her by giving unlimited length of sari, which Dushyasana could not, utilize and disrobe her until he fell down with exhaustion, and Draupadi was saved from being disrobed. So you will see there's another story illustrating the fact that sometimes even if we make a decision, we are afraid it will be wrong, and mostly it turns out to be wrong. In the Mahabharata, there is another story of a Brahmana, Kaushika Brahmana. There's an instance where Karna comes to fight, and he fights with Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira actually was not a match for Karna. Karna is too good. So he dropped Yudhishthira down from his chariot. And he didn't kill him, he didn't do anything, because he came to know that this is my elder brother. But what he did is he used his bow and knocked him on the head with this and said, you're no match for me, go get your brother Arjuna. So it was such an insult to Yudhishthira. He got so insulted, he went back into his tent and was seething and fuming with anger. Where is that Arjuna? So at that time, Arjuna and Krishna came back, hearing that Karna and Yudhishthira, this happened, and Yudhishthira was thrown down. And so Arjuna said, I want to go back and see my brother. So Krishna brought him back. And as soon as they entered the tent, the nice camp they have, Yudhishthira is known to have said, so great warrior, where were you? What is the use of your useless Gandiva? Why are you holding it? In anger and desperation, he said this. And Arjuna became so hot. He's coming all the way to see his brother, and his brother is saying this to him when he enters. Because he was completely disturbed with the insult he got from Karna, and he was not able to hold up. So he remarked this about the Gandiva. As soon as he held the Gandiva, it became so hot. And he said, there, I have vowed that anybody who speaks against my Gandiva bow, I should kill. Therefore, I should do it. He pulled out his sword and went lunging forward to his brother, elder brother, Yudhishthira, wanted to kill him off. Then Krishna intervened, just you wait. Wait, hold on, just a minute. Listen to me, and then you may do what you want to do. And everybody is obedient to Krishna, the Pandavas. So they said, sit, put your sword in first. And if necessary, you can take it out again. But listen to me. I'll give you a little story. I'll tell you the story of the Kaushika Brahmana. And he said, do you know the Kaushika Brahmana? They said, no. Yes, I'll tell you the story. In a village, there was this wonderful Brahmana, Kaushika Brahmana. He had never told a lie in his life, and he was famous for never lying. Never lying. And he was one of the great advisors for everybody in the village, like a senior person, a guru, and everybody was dependent a lot on him. But he never lies. A high moral character he maintained. Brahmanas are normally like that. So it so happened that dacoits were attacking that village and stealing all the supplies, all their crops, all their pulses, all their grains, all their milk and that and this, everything. So the dacoits would come, they don't do any work, nothing, they just steal and pillage the whole place. So they got wind of the fact that the dacoits are coming to this village. So the village headman and everybody, they packed everything and left to the hills. There was nothing there left. Kaushika Brahmana said, I'll stay here. He alone was there. Everybody had left. All the women, children, everybody. So the dacoits came and started rummaging. Where are the people? Where are the supplies? They couldn't find anything. And they found this Brahmana alone in a trance meditating. They came and told, hey! So he opened his eyes. He said, tell us the truth. Where is everybody gone? Where is all the supply of grains, fruits, vegetables, everything, and the crops? And if you don't tell, you know what we will do to you? So the Brahmana looked very peaceful. Now the question is, what will the Brahmana say? What will the Brahmana say? Will he say the truth? They all went up to the hills, they took all the supplies, but they said, please don't do anything to me. Leave me alone. That's what anybody would do. And if he didn't say that, he'll be lying, which he normally does not do, which he has never done in his life. So I was recently asked, do you know what the Brahmana actually did? It's very interesting. What he did. What do you think he did? Tell me in the chat what he did. He's a very intelligent man. He's a very intelligent man. He knows Dharma. He's very well read, very educated. He never lies. He never lies. So what do you think he did? Put it up in the chat if you want. That's the best thing that it'll be, easy for us. Let's see, because every time I'm speaking and you're all keeping quiet, today I thought it should be a little interactive with you. Since you've been hearing, I'm sure you can say something. What did the Brahmana say? And remember, kim karma karameti kaviyo apyatra mohitaha. You saw Bhishma is bewildered. What did this Brahmana do? Maybe he gave a vague answer. Brahmanas don't do that. They just speak correctly. Somebody said, spoke the truth. What else do people think? Take a chance. I just see two answers. So it's very bewildering even for you to answer what he may have answered. What to speak of him answering and doing the right thing. Do you see how difficult it is? Even for us to answer what possibly he could have done, half truth, half lie. Wow, is it? So then half a lie he can say. Somebody would say, oh, that's not possible for the Brahmana to do that. He's a very educated man. So, he told for the betterment of the society is okay, I think he told a lie. Yes, actually he did something like that. He judged, if I tell a lie, I'll suffer for the lie. If I tell the truth, everybody will die. And lots of things will happen. And I will be the reason for all that. That also I'll suffer. So he weighed out which is the better thing to do where he will suffer the least in terms of karma. Better I tell a lie. Only I will suffer. He weighed out, and so because he's a dharmic person, he said, no chance of me not suffering, not getting a reaction. So actually the Brahmana throughout his life, he never said a lie. He told a lie. And that was his good judgment. And he's praised for that by Krishna. He said, you see, there is a way of doing. It's not that you can never tell a lie. Sometimes you have to tell a lie to do the least damage. Otherwise, if you tell the truth, you'll do more damage to yourself. So the lie thing is a relative thing. And when you have to execute a vow, that also is a relative thing. And he told Arjuna to execute the vow in a different way, so that the vow will be satisfied without killing Yudhishthira. And he gave him that detail. But the point here is, he went to hell, Kaushika Brahmana, for having told the lie. But that was nothing for him, very small. If he had actually told the truth, he would have gone to worse hells, having to suffer so many people's death. So the decisions we take sometimes, we take it on the basis of the least damage it would do. Sometimes we have to lie. Yudhishthira had to take a decision. You know, Yudhishthira is a person who is Dharmaraj, Yamaraj's incarnation. He's so truthful, so righteous, that Krishna told him, he's so righteous that his chariot always zooms in air 4 inches above the ground. It never touches the ground, the wheels of his chariot, because he's so righteous, dharmic. That's why very swiftly he can go. It's very amazing. But Krishna told him, as a strategy, he said, in order to get Dronacharya, who's so powerful, you'll have to use a strategy. This is war, and you should do. Tell that Ashwatthama, the elephant, is dead in such a way that he thinks his son Ashwatthama is dead. And Yudhishthira became very surprised. Krishna is asking me to tell a lie? The moment he thought that, boom, his chariot touched the ground. And he was very shocked. The moment I thought that Krishna is asking me to lie, the chariot touched the ground. And immediately he understood that, in fact, I have become adharmic by even thinking that Krishna is asking me to lie. Because he is the absolute truth. Where is the question of lie in what he says? So he immediately said, no, I will say that. And Krishna was silently watching everything happening. No, I will say that. As soon as he agreed to, the chariot again went up, boom, 4 inches above the ground. Yudhishthira became convinced. This is dharma. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is right and what is wrong, everybody does not know. Tatte aham prapakshayami yajñatva mokshayate ashubhat. Now I'll tell you that secret by which this inauspicious will be removed. What is that? Do what I tell you to do. That is dharma. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranita. Right and wrong, moral, ethically, all that stuff, it's transcended when the absolute truth is instituted, when he's speaking. So for Yudhishthira Maharaj, he came to know who is Yamaraj, what is Dharma. Dharma means doing what Krishna says, because he is the absolute truth. He is the foundation of all morality. In the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita, you can see that. It says, wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, right, there will be highest morality. There will be Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Niti. Dhruva Niti, with top class morality. So listening to instructions of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, it should not be judged right and wrong, because it transcends right and wrong. It's absolute. It's absolute. So people get stuck in deciding what is right and what is wrong only because they don't connect with the Supreme Lord. They don't remain connected. If you remain connected, you're inspired with the right decision. Like this Brahmana was inspired, it's better I tell the lie so that everybody is saved. I'm killed. That's okay. Or I go to hell. That's okay. He made a judgment. So it's not easy to judge. It's not easy to decide. You have to be very well educated in dharma, principles of morality, right and wrong, etc., etc., etc. But for a devotee, he decides in terms of getting Krishna pleased. What is the best thing to do? That obviously becomes the right thing to do. Now, this is a very extreme statement, some people will think. But Krishna statements and directions will never do anything wrong to human society. It will only be super good. But we don't have that faith. Our godlessness doesn't allow us to have that faith. That is why we are practicing sadhana. That is why we're practicing honing our faith and belief in such a way that we can actually put faith and understand this. This is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means factoring Krishna into your life, factoring the absolute truth into your life, into the relative world that you live in, bringing in the absolute, absolutizing or making everything perfect, transcending the good and the bad and the right and this thing, the black and the white, and all the dualities. If we take decisions according to what pleases Krishna, then we are always taking the right decision. That is the way Arjuna took decision. In the end, when Krishna said, Yate ichhasi tata kuru, Arjuna decided, I will do what your bidding is, because I want to please you. You have already said that I am dear to you. You said that I am instructing the signs to you. Bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Bhakto sime sakha. You are not only my devotee, but my dear friend. Priya mitra, priya bandhu. He has already addressed him like that. So after receiving the advice, the reason why Arjuna decided is not because of the wonderful arguments that Krishna gave. Morally, ethically, religiously, spiritually, devotionally, all these areas he handled. And varieties in each one of those branches also, sub-branches. Massive arguments he gave. He covered up every possible argument. And finally, Arjuna was convinced. But he really decided to do Karishye Vachanam Tava. Nashtamoha smritirlabdha tvatprasadat maya achyuta stito asmi gata sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. My dear Lord, my dear Krishna, I will do as you have said. He didn't say, I will do, I am convinced now. I think your arguments are good. And I think you have defeated me. He didn't say all that. He didn't. Shortly he said, I am fine. I have no more doubts. I just don't need to have any more doubts. I just want to do what pleases you. Because you have this plan Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. You want to actually institute the Pandavas, install the Pandavas, and rout the whole adharmic people, the Kauravas. And you are interested in instituting dharma so that everybody becomes God conscious. It should be God-centered ruling and leadership. So I want to please you. I want to do your bidding. Karishe vachanam tava. I shall do as you say. He said, go fight. Get up. Take your bow, arrow, shoot Bhishma, shoot Dronacharya, shoot all this. And he did it. He did it. He did shooting of Bhishma with great difficulty. He was not able to thread and push it. His emotions were really pushing him hard. So much he was very weak, and Bhishma was really hitting him, hitting Arjuna. And it's mentioned that out of love for Arjuna, Krishna came in between and took those shots on himself to protect Arjuna, because Arjuna is sentimental. He is emotional. And he knew what Bhishma is doing and what Bhishma was. Something high was going on there. It was all devotionally oriented. Everybody, even Bhishma, was doing things to please Krishna and invoke Krishna and his mercy. So this, the top principle is, how can I do things in keeping with Krishna's desire? How can I please Krishna? Samsiddhim haritoshanam. Toshana means satisfaction, pleasure. Haritoshana means pleasing Lord Hari. Samsiddhim haritoshanam is you're totally perfect siddhi if you learn how to please the Lord. And the Lord is very easily pleased. Patram phalam toyam pushpam yome bhaktya prayachati tadahamapti bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmana. Just a leaf, a flower, a fruit with devotion you offer to me, I'm very happy with you. Actually, the Lord is really alpa santoshi. Very easily satisfied. Each one of us is very difficult to please. We want the mountain, we want the Himalayas, we want BMWs, we want rocket, we want, space trip, we want fantastic desires we have. We sit down here like this, but inside the mind, we have all sorts of desires. It's more difficult to satisfy each one of us. But Krishna is saying, Kevalam, Kevala Bhakti. Show some love towards me. I love you. And if you show some love, I'm very pleased. Arjuna understood this is the secret. This is what Krishna is trying to tell me. It's not all the philosophy, all the great do's and don'ts and the intricacies of karma and, all that stuff that I asked question, all that he answered. But the key is, I must please Krishna. That is his motivation in acting. And he became correct 100% in everything he did. He never had any problem. He faced huge problems and his decisions were all clean. His son died, Abhimanyu. Draupadi's 5 sons were killed by Ashwatthama. A Brahmastra was released on the pregnant Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife. Heavy damage was done. In all these things, he stood with Krishna and bore the challenge. He was not so bewildered. Greater challenges he faced than the one he had before the Kurukshetra war, from which Bhagavad Gita was born. After that, he faced even greater challenges because he understood, I should simply do what Krishna tells me to do. And he became successful. He became detached. He became successful. He achieved the highest goal of life. So this we must understand is the secret of Bhagavad Gita. It's not, sometimes I speak about decision making in corporate sectors and all that, and use this shloka and use another shloka saying that there are 5 factors of taking a decision and all that. But all of you are devotees, so I want to tell you that all your decisions should be as much as possible factoring Krishna, how to please Krishna. They'll automatically turn out to be good and successful. Because Krishna will look after you. Because you've tried to please Krishna, you'll always be safe. Even if you do a blunder in your decision, Krishna will protect you. He's saying that in the Bhagavad Gita. Apichat suduracharo bhajate mam ananyabha sadhur eva samantabhyah samyak vyavasito hi sa kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanaihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never be a failure. My devotee, even he makes a wrong decision, he is successful. He is right. I'll protect him. I'll set things right for him because he's invested in me. So wonderful Krishna's talk is. It's so personal. It's so sweet, full of love for all the living entities. And somehow people don't catch it. They go into all these intricate discussions and philosophy and that and this and split hairs over small things and then go and, tear their hair apart in arguments and fight with each other and lunge for each other's throat. Hey man, relax. Don't waste your energy. Material nature is always like this. It will bewilder you, put you into awkward situations, put you into real ugly situations. And it's all happening because we have forgotten God. So during this coronavirus pandemic time, we are in such an awkward situation. Nobody is able to solve the problem. Everybody is thinking that I will do it in the future. Very soon we're going to come out with a solution. But in the meantime, people are dying in hordes. And everybody is wondering, my gosh, what an awkward situation. There's no leadership that's possible here. There's no doctor who can save you. There is no great researcher and pundit and PhD or whatever he is can save you. No vaccine can save you. No, nothing can save you. Actually, many people understand that it's a grace of God that I'm alive. It's a grace of God that I'm still moving around because none of these guys know anything. Everybody is speculating, saying, I got it. Another one, people are saying so many things. But intelligently, if you see, those people who depend on Krishna, they may even die. Doesn't matter, but they don't die confused. Some of them may even get COVID and die, but they get COVID and die, they die in a completely different way. They accept it's Krishna's plan. So this is a different thing altogether. And that's prescription Krishna gives. You have the capacity to actually depend on the Lord. And that is what is required. That is the challenge. Will you come out and depend fully on the Lord? Right? That is the question mark. Will we be able to factor Krishna in our decisions? Do we need to make that a habit? Do we need to practice that, how to do it? That is the challenge. And Bhagavad Gita is training us how to do that. And therefore, we must accept these views with proper understanding. Learning to surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja means this only. Learning to surrender. I'll stop here. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. If you have any question, comment, I will try my best to answer them. I may not be expert at answering it, but any question or comment? Okay. Om Tat Sat. Nobody has a comment. Hare Krishna. Stay safe.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Stay peaceful. Stay happy. Chant Hare Krishna. Depend on Krishna. He can only protect you. Okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have it to stay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Maharaj, I have it to stay.
Maharaj.